They say money is the root of all evil, but I say, yeah, that's probably right. But if you're wiping your cheeks with $1,000 bills, then who cares about morality? The best person I know when it comes to making money and making money quick is our good friend Wario. The guy came up with a plan to trick all of his friends into doing free labor and then using their creative ideas to make a quick buck. He's a guy we can all learn a thing or two from, you know? I mean, just look at him. He's classy, has great hygiene, he has the ideal male physique. In Wario's early days back in the Wario Land series, he tried making money the old-fashioned way, right? Working hard, saving up his bread, even investing it in real estate, the way you've probably seen a few financial YouTubers tell you to do. But we're not some 60-year-old boomers or Karens, okay? We're here to make money fast. And Wario thought the same way. So eventually, the Wario Land series of games was thrown into the landfill of Nintendo's dead franchises, and we got a brand new lightning-fast money-making series, WarioWare. WarioWare was inspired by a fairly obscure Mario game for the Nintendo 64 DD, an add-on for the N64 released in 1999 that allowed the system to actually become a modern video game console and use discs instead of the prehistoric cartridges. Unfortunately, it flopped. The name of the game that inspired WarioWare was Mario Artist Polygon Studio. The Mario Artist games were something of a sequel to Mario Paint on the Super Nintendo. The series had 4 games exclusive to the N64 DD. Now, I use the term game very loosely. It's like calling a hot dog a sandwich. Technically, it's true, but it makes you sound like a moron. These were more like little toy boxes you could play around with. There was a lot of cool stuff you could do though, like paint pictures, make animations, and even record videos by connecting a video camera to the game. By using the communication kit, you could even connect to the internet and share your creations online. Nintendo allowing people to share their art online is a really good idea.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so actually maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Polygon Studio, the last game in the series, had a bonus mode called Sound Bomber where you could play quick minigames in rapid succession. This became the basis for the first WarioWare game, called Made in Wario in Japan. After seeing the success of a new video game on the news, Wario gets the great idea to go out, buy a laptop, and become the next Toby Fox. But he finds out making games ain't as easy as dropping a couple 3D models in Unity and squeezing out the next Minecraft. So Wario gets an even better idea to get his friends to make games for him. He calls up Jimmy T, the Disco King with all the baddies on speed dial. He hits up Dr. Krieger, a scientist with some legendary dance moves. Wario even rings the nerdy kid Nival. I mean, what the heck, why not enforce some child labor? Each character has their own level, which is essentially a playlist of super short micro games that you go through until you get to the boss. There is a bit of story to each character's level that ranges from pretty simple, like the Ninja Girl cat trying to save you, yes, you, the player, from some evil Skeletor-looking spirit dude, to assaulting police officers to avoid being late for a minimum wage job. Is this what the economy has come to, risking 20 years in the pen for a job that probably pays you in Fortnite gift cards? You have a short period of time to complete each microgame, and if you don't, you lose a life. Lose 4 lives and it's game over. As the level goes on, the game speeds up, getting faster and faster. It can get super hectic, especially when you go back and replay levels, as it basically becomes endless mode where you keep going until you screw up. Because the microgames are so short and simple, it makes WarioWare really easy to pick up and play for a few minutes while you're out. Each character's level has a unique theme to it. All of the Alien Orbulon's levels are brain teasers. All of Dribble and Spitz's games are related to sci-fi and pop culture. All of Jimmy T's games are related to sports. These microgames can get pretty weird, from picking some guy's nose to suplexing Bowser to using your nuts as a tennis racket. The developers actually made it a contest to see who could come up with the weirdest games. It got so bad that some of them were too strange, or better yet, too inappropriate to put into the game. We got a couple naughty dogs up in here. The devs had a ton of ideas for this game, mostly because other people from around the office heard about the game and they just started submitting their own microgame concepts. Janitors, caterers, probably somebody's side chick. These developers were swimming in an ocean of post-it notes. Early on in development, this weird game was actually made in secret, and once they finally took the game to the director, he was like, okay. Speaking of the devs, eventually Intelligent Systems would come in and help with development, but the team behind the original WarioWare was Nintendo R&D 1. These guys are the real OGs of Nintendo, an absolutely legendary studio responsible for countless series and even the Nintendo Game Boy itself. They created the Super Mario Land series, which eventually became the Wario Land series, which then ended up becoming the WarioWare series. However, the team responsible for WarioWare was actually composed of a lot of newer Nintendo employees, like programmer Goro Abe, who would end up becoming the chief director of the series after the first game, which was directed by Hirofumi Matsuoka, a key person in the Wario Land series. The character designer was Ko Takeuchi. I really dig his art style. His style is really charming, and each character feels really distinct from the last. Some of the other core members who would become a part of the franchise include producer Yoshio Sakamoto, a Nintendo legend who's directed many of the Metroid games, as well as programmer Taku Sugioka, the director of the Pushmo series, and designer Nao Komori, who's done a ton of work on the likes of the Paper Mario games and the Yokai Watch series. Koichi Kawamoto, the man who was responsible for the original Sound Bomber minigames that inspired WarioWare, didn't actually work on any of the WarioWare games, but he is another Nintendo all-star, directing the Brain Age games and producing several other casual games like 1-2 Switch and Ring Fit Adventure. But probably his greatest achievement is he has the esteemed honor of being the director of the Forecast channel on the Nintendo Wii console. This team is like the Avengers of Nintendo, or at bare minimum, the Defenders of Nintendo. As the series went on, WarioWare ended up becoming the Wii Sports for every new Nintendo console, being a showcase for each system's features and potential. After the first game was released in 2003, the next game released in the West was WarioWare Touched, and instead of each character having a genre like in the first game, every character used a different mechanic of the Nintendo DS. Wario was tapping, Ashley was dragging, Mike was the microphone, and Jimmy was rubbing? Okay, moving on. Smooth moves on the Wii played around with different ways to hold the Wii remote. Game & Wario was pretty different from your typical WarioWare game, but it used the various functions of the Wii U gamepad in conjunction with the TV screen, with the most famous game being 9Volt's Gamer minigame. This is easily the most realistic horror game ever. You, as 9Volt, are trying to play your game system at night while you're supposed to be asleep, so you have to play WarioWare microgames while making sure your mom doesn't catch you slipping. You can pretend to be asleep, but the more you do so, the more tired you actually get from laying down. So it becomes a balancing act of trying to beat the microgames while trying to make sure your mom doesn't catch you while trying to make sure you don't fall asleep. Wario really is the best analogy for the soulless AAA game company. He wants to make money as fast as possible. You see, Wario is an alpha male. As long as his bank account has more digits than a social security number, he's chilling. He even brings his friends onto the project to take advantage of them, people who actually have creative ideas. Just look at Wario's microgames from the first WarioWare game. Unlike the other characters, Wario doesn't have a unique genre or a neat gimmick. His microgames are all very straightforward, and most of them feature Wario himself, the humble jerk. Even the microgames themselves are representative of the direction of the gaming market. The mobile gaming industry absolutely exploded in the last decade and a half with very simple games like Angry Birds, Candy Crush, and Pokemon Go. Real money is not in these big budget releases where the credits are long enough to rival the entire Harry Potter franchise in length. The real money is in quick, easy, compact games stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey with advertisements and sponsorships. And to tie a bow on this greedy game studio analogy, Wario had no intention to pay his friends fairly. Heck, he doesn't even pay them at all. He tries to run away with all the money from his game. In conclusion, Wario is freaking awesome, dude. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, there's a whole playlist of videos just like this one on the left side of the screen. If you want to be notified when I post a new video, then click on the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you'd be so kind, click the like button too before you go, as it really helps the channel grow. Thanks guys, don't be too greedy now, and have a good one.